Good morning, students. Today we will discuss about the concept of assemblers. Okay, in previous class we have discussed about SIC and SIC architectures and different programming examples, assembly level language programming examples. All those things we have discussed in previous class. Okay, so now we will discuss about the assembler concept. The outline of this today's class is the definition of the assemblers and what are the basic assembler functions. So then after that we will discuss about the object program. Then after that what are the different types of assemblers and data structures used in assembler. Okay, so here first we will discuss about the definition. We already have given a brief introduction about assemblers in introduction class. Okay, anyhow I will continue the the definition of that assemblers. Okay, so we already know that we will write the source program in higher level language or assembly level language. Okay, and that one will be converted into machine level language. Okay, because this is computer doesn't know assembly level language or a high level language. The assembly level language already we know that it is a mnemonics. Okay, that is nothing but just instructions we are writing. Okay, so here whenever you want to convert that assembly level language into machine level language, so that is we'll call it as a object program. So that one we will call that the translator we will call it as a assembler. So that is assembler is a program that converts the assembly language program to its equivalent object program. Okay, so that one we will call it as a the translator we will call it as a assembler. So then object program, what it consists, what is the object program is nothing but it is a animation level language. So it means what it contains. Okay, it contains object code. Okay, the object code is nothing but it is instructions to the microprocessor, do this job. Okay, so it will gives the instructions to microprocessor, that one we will call it as a object code. Then instruction to loader, load this program, this from this memory location to that memory location you need to load, that is the instruction to the loader. Okay, so these are the two things it contains, that is one is object code, that is instruction to microprocessor, and instruction to loader. Two things, instruction to microprocessor and instruction to the loader. Then loader copies the object program into main memory and start executing the program. Okay, loaders, what anyhow loaders will get the instruction from the object program. Okay, so then what it will do, based on that instructions, the loader loads the object program into main memory. Once it loaded the object program into main memory, and it start executing the program. Okay, the loader copies the object program into main memory and start executing the program. Okay, so that is the assembler is a translator, that is a program which converts assembly level language to its equivalent object program. First thing. Okay, assembler is a program which converts assembly level language to its equivalent object program. Then object program consists of two things, instructions to the microprocessor and instructions to the loader. Instruction to the microprocessor, that one we will call it as an object code. Instructions to the loader, that one from where, from which memory locations we need to, from which address we need to load that program to main memory. That is, that loader copies the object program into, the loader copies the object program into main memory and start executing the program. Okay, so this one is kind of introduction to assembler. Okay, what it will do, how the source program, where the source program is available, and how loader will loads the program. So here the source program, usually what is it is stored in disk, that is it is stored in the hard disk. Okay, so here what it will do, the assembler, the source program will be read from the disk and it is converted into object program. Okay, the source program, that is in assembly level language program, it is stored on disk, that one will be converted into may object program using that assembler. So that is source program, the assembler will convert that one into object code. Okay, so then here linker, it will links the different functions. Okay, so if you have a subroutine and other things, it will link those things. Okay, so then after that object code is also stored in disk only, main in secondary, that is in our disk. Okay, so but whenever we want to execute that object code, okay, whenever we want to execute that object code, so that at that time we need to load that program stored in hard disk to main memory. Whenever you want to execute anything, that will the main memory is nothing but a RAM. Okay, so you need to upload those things to RAM, and after that it will, that instruction will goes to CPU, and that is other part, computer organization part. So it means whenever you want to execute the program, the loader will take the responsibility to load that object code into, okay, the object code into main memory. Okay, the assembler, it should convert that one object code, uh, whenever you want to execute that program, that object code will be uploaded to main memory using loader. Okay, so this is the thing, that is a source program, it is stored in disk and it will be converted into object code, and also after conversion also it is stored in memory only, that is in disk only. Okay, but whenever you want to execute that one, so we need to get from disk to main memory, that one will be done by loader. Okay, so this is the two things of assembler. Okay, what are the assembler function? Okay, so here what are the assembler functions? Okay, so here there are a lot of assembler functions we have discussed, we will discuss one by one. So what it will do, it assembler converts the mnemonic operation code to their machine language equivalent. For each mnemonic operation, already it has inbuilt, we will have a machine language equivalent. Okay, okay, so here for each instruction we will have a corresponding machine language equivalent. So here we have taken R sub, okay, register subtraction, so we will have a 4C. Okay, store, for that we will have a 14, like that. For each one we will have a instruction, for each instructions we will have a object code. Okay, so that is the first thing, it will convert the mnemonic operation code to their machine language in equivalent mnemonic code. All instructions will have a equivalent code. Usually all equivalent code will be converted, and that is stored in the assembler table, so that one will be taken from that and it will converted into machine language. Okay, so then after that, convert the data convert the data constant specified in the operand field of the instruction into equivalent machine instruction. The data constants are available, so in the program those things also converted into equivalent machine instructions. Okay, the data, whatever data constants are available in the, whatever the data constants are available in the program, those things also converted into machine instruction. Okay, so one is mnemonics, that is instruction, another after that data constant, two things. So then after that it process the assembler directive also. Third function is it process the assembler directives. Okay, so it means what it will do in assembler, how it will process the assembler directives. When you are writing, you will use a number of assembler directives. So it may involve reserving the appropriate memory space for storing the constant. Okay, so you are using a number of assembly directives, so for that you need to reserve the memory space for storing the constant. Okay, so it will reserve the memory also, memory space for the assembler directives. Process the assembler directives, after that it will reserve the memory space for the constant. That is the third one. And fourth one, it will create the list file. Okay, it will create the list file. That list file consists of a source code along with address of each instruction. Okay, list file, okay, it consists of source code along with their address of for each instruction. Okay, for each instruction where that is stored, that it is stored in particular memory location, that address with instruction it will create the assembler. Okay, so the assembler, it will create the list. That list consists of source code along with instruction, sorry, source code along with address of each instruction, source code along with address of each instruction. Okay, so that is the fourth assembler function. And next one is it will display appropriate errors on the screen when you are executing, whenever you want to convert that machine level language. If errors are there in instruction or other things, it will display the errors. Okay, it will display the errors. And last one, it will create the object program. That object program consists of machine instructions and instructions to the loader. That is instructions to microprocessor and instructions to loader to load for main memory. Okay, so these are the functions of assembler. In exams they will ask what are the functions of assembler. So these are the 6 assembler functions you need to write. Okay, so what are those? First, it will convert the numeric operations codes into machine equivalent. Mnemonic codes into machine instructions. Second one, it will convert the data constant into machine equivalent to machine instruction. If constants and mnemonics, both things should be converted into machine equivalent. Two things. Then after third one, it will process the assembler directives, and after that, it will reserve the memory space for the constant. Third one, it will reserve the memory space for the constant. And fourth one, it will create the list file. So in that, it contains the source code and corresponding address for the instruction. Okay. So then after that, it will display the appropriate errors. It will display the appropriate errors. And last one, it will create the object program, and the object program consists of a machine instructions and instructions to the loader. The machine instruction is nothing but instructions to the microprocessor, and loader instruction the loader to loading the object program to execute the program. Now once it loaded to memory, it is ready for execution. Okay, so these things will be functions of assembler. Okay, next, what do you mean by, okay, so we have discussed what do you mean by assembler. Okay, so then what are the functions of assembler? So then after that we need to discuss, okay, so what is the object program? Okay, we know that object program is nothing but a machine level instructions. That is nothing but what are all the things are there in object program, we will discuss in detail. Okay, so here assembler converts assembly language instructions to object code. We know that the assembly is a translator. It will convert the assembly language instructions into object code. Okay, assembler, it will convert each assembly language instructions into object code. First thing it will do that. Then object code along with instructions given to the loader is called object program. Just the conversion of assembly language to object code is not an object program. Okay, so not only just conversion is not an assembly, object program. Just that is object code. That's all. So whenever object code along with instructions to the loader, object code along with the instructions to the loader, that is instructions to microprocessor and instruction to loader, both things we will call it as a object program. Okay, so both things we will call it as a object program. That object program is called, okay, that is object code along with the instructions given to the loader. Object code along with instructions given to the loader is called object program. Okay, object code along with instructions to the loader, that is, it means it is ready for execution. That program is ready for execution, then that one we will call it as the object program. Okay, so usually we know that object program is stored in secondary device, that is in hard disk. Okay, object program normally stored in secondary device such as hard disk. Okay, object program is normally stored in secondary device, that we will call it as a hard disk. Okay, so for example, suppose you are using assembly level language, so that when the program name you have given t.asm, whatever name you can give, dot extension will be .asm. Okay, so here I am taking one example, t.asm. T.asm is nothing but one file name. Okay, it contains the source program. T.asm contains the source program. Then t.obj contains the object program. So here t.asm is the assembly level language program. T.obj corresponding name, that is t.obj, will be the object program. Okay, you can x.asm is the assembly level program. X.obj is the x.obj is the object program. Okay, two things. T.asm is assembly level language and t.obj is nothing but a program. Object program. That object program is nothing but the object code along with instructions to the loader. We will call it as a object program. So this is the pictorial representation of an object program. So here in source program we will have labels, we have mnemonics, and we have operands. Okay, so labels we have. So you need to suppose when you are comparing, so at that time you are using jump to that label. Okay, we'll have label. Then after that mnemonics are nothing but instructions. Then operands we have constant and other operands we have. These are the three things we have. So then what did this assembler will do? It will convert whole things to machine level language. That is nothing but an object program. Then object program contains what? So you know that is instruction to microprocessor and instructions to loader. But what actually it contains? It contains header record, one thing, text record, and end record. Three things it contains. Then object in exams they may ask what are the different records contains in our object program, or what are all the things are available in object program. So at that time we need to tell what do you mean by object program and header record, text record, and end record. So here whenever you will get an assembler, whenever you get an error, it will be display error. Okay, so this is the pictorial representation of source program and object program. So source program contains labels, mnemonics, and operands. Labels, mnemonics, and operands. And object program contains header, text record, and end record. Header, record, text record, and end record. And whenever you will get an error at that time, assembler will put an error. So this is the pictorial representation of object program, assembler, and source program. Okay. So then what is header record? That is what is text record and what is end record. So this is a format of they may ask like this also. What is the format of object program? So object program contains three things. One is header record, text record, and end record. Header record, text record, and end record. Then what do you mean by text header record? Okay, so header records, it contains the program name, header record, that is header record. It contains the program name. Okay, so that is t.asm. You are giving any name, that name will be t.asm, will be the program name. Then starting address of the program. Okay, so it contains the starting address of the program and length of the object code. What is the total length of the object code? Three things it contains header record. One thing is name of the program, another one is starting address, and length of object code. Header record contains three things: program name, starting address, and length of object code. Okay, for every object program we will have only one header record. We don't have two or three header records. We will have only one header record for each object program. Okay, then what it contains, how we will represent that thing, in which column which thing are there. I told that program name, starting address, length of the record. So in which column is stored what? So here in column number 1, so h will be, it indicates, h indicates header record. If it is h is there, it will be header record. If e is there, it will be end record, and t will be, it will be text record. Okay, so three things. Header record contains program name, starting address, and the length of object code. Okay, so here in column 1 we will have the h indicates header record. In column 2nd to 7th, it will be program name, t.asm, x.asm, whatever it may be. Okay, column 2 to 7, it will be program name, and column 8 to 13, it will be starting address of object program. Okay, so it will be starting address of object program, and column number 14 to 19, it will be a length of the object program. Okay, so it contains the length of object program. So 4 columns we have in this header record. The first column will be the header, second column, 2nd to 7th column, it will be the name of the program, and 8 to 13, it will be the starting address of the program, and 14 to 19 it will be the length of the program. So if they ask in exam, what do you mean by header record? So header record contains the program name, starting address and length of the record. Okay, and every assembly and object program contains only one header record. Okay, so every program contains only one header record. So here in column number, okay, so in column number 1 it contains h. Okay, in column number 1 it contains h is nothing but indicates header record. In column number 2 to 7 it contains program name, it may be t.asm, a.asm, x.asm, whatever it may be. And third column number 8 to 13 it contains the starting address of the program. Okay, third column it contains the starting address of the object program. In column number 4, that is 4 to 19, it contains the length of the object program. Okay, column number 14 to 19 it contains the length of the object program. This is the three things of header record. Then when it comes to text record, next one, header record. Okay, so object program contains header record, text record and end record. When you come to text record, okay, so here text record contains the machine code, object code along with program data. Okay, so here text record it contains the machine code, that is object code along with program, whatever data needed for that program, that is also available in text record. There can be, so here there can be one or more text record in object program. Okay, there can be one or more text record, there can be one or more text record in object program. Okay, so here in header record only one for one object program, but in text record it can contain more than one. Okay, so it may contain more than one text record in object program. Okay, so in here also we have four different columns. Okay, so in column number 1, T letter is there, it indicates it is a text record. Okay, so column number 1 it is a T, means it is a text record. Then column number 2 to 7. Okay, 2 to 7 it is the starting address of object code in the text record. Starting address of object code in text record, that is the starting address of object code. Then column number 8 to 9 it will be length of the object code. Okay, column number 8 to 9 it will be the length of the object code. And column number 10 to 16, a object code can maximum size of 30 bytes. That is the actual object code can be there from column number 10 to 16 of maximum 30 size 30 bytes. Okay, so these are the four things what we have. Okay, one is column number T, it contains the T, it indicates it is a text record. Column number 2 to 7 it is the starting address of the object code in the text. Okay, starting address of the object code. And 8 to 9 it will be the length of the object code. Then fourth one is the object code, then maximum size of 30 bytes, it will be 10 to 16. These are the four different columns what we have in this text record. So the text record it contains the machine code along with program data, and there can be one or more text records in an object program, but header record only one. The text record it will be the, okay, there can be one or more text record in object program. Okay, so T indicates starting text record, and column number 2 to 9, 2 to 7 it will be the starting address of the object code, and 8 to 9 is the length of the object code, and 10 to 16 the object code can maximum of 30 bytes. Okay, then next one is end record. Okay, we have discussed, okay, so we have discussed text record and data record, and last one is end record. Okay, so what do you mean by end record? Okay, so end record indicates the end of the object program. So it means it is a, okay, End means it indicates the end of the object program. Okay, so for every program we have a starting and we have a ending instruction. So here this record indicates the end of the object program and it contains the starting address of the first instructions to be executed. Okay, so in that object program, the last one is the end record. End record indicates the end of the object program. It contains the starting address of the first instruction to be executed. So we need to load for execution. We need to load the program in load. Main memory. So from where I need to start execution, that address of the first instruction to be executed. Starting address of the first instruction to be executed. That one contains the end record. So here we have only two columns. Column 1 indicates the end record and column 2 to 7 it contains the starting address of the first instructions to be executed. Okay, column number 2 to 7 it contains the starting address of the first instruction to be executed. Okay, so these are the two things we have in this end record. Okay, so header record, text record and end record, we have three things. Okay, in a assembly object program. Okay, so next what are the different types of assemblers what we have? Okay, so here we have three types of assemblers are available. One is two pass assembler, another one is single pass assembler and the third one is multi pass assembler. Okay, so here we need to convert that one to machine instructions. So at that time, okay, so at that time we may have different assembler translators. So those assembler translators we can use for converting machine high level assembly level language into machine level language. So here we have three types of assembler: two pass assembler, one pass assembler and multi pass assembler. Okay, these are the three things we have. Then what do you mean by two pass assembler? To convert machine instructions, it takes two passes. That one we will call it as a two pass assembler. That is the assembler that make two pass while converting from assembly language to machine level language. Two pass means two stages. Okay. The assembler that makes two pass while converting from assembly language to machine language. So that one we will call it as a two pass assembler. What it will do in first pass and what it will do in second pass. Okay, in first pass, the assembler scans the source program. Okay, so first thing is what it will do, it will scans the source program to find the address of each label defined in the program. First, it will scans the whole assembly program and it will find the labels. Okay, it will find the address of each label defined in the program. So whenever you are comparing other things, you are using a labels. So here what it will do in first pass, the assembler scans the whole program and it will finds the address of each label. Okay, where that address in a label is stored, that address will be taken in first pass. Okay, and second job in the first pass is it assigns the address to each instruction. Okay, it will assigns the address to each instruction. Okay, but first it will what it will do, it will finds the label. Okay, it will finds the address of the label. Second one, it will finds the address of instruction or it will assign the address to each instruction. We may have n number of instructions in object program. So sorry, in source program, it will assign the address for each instruction and it will assign it will takes the address of each label. Two things it will do in first pass. Okay, in first pass, assembler scans the source program to find the address of each label defined in the program. Another second one, it assigns the address to each instruction. It assigns the address to each instruction. Okay. In second pass, what it will do? In second pass also, it scans the source program and obtain the machine code for each instructions and finally generates the object code. So in second pass also, it will scans the source program. In second pass also, it will scans the source program and obtain the machine code for each instruction. Okay, and obtain the machine code for each instruction and finally generate the object code. Okay, for each instructions, it obtains the object my machine code. N number of instructions we may have to get the object code or a machine code and finally generate the object code. Okay, in first pass, what it will do, it will get the address of labels and instructions. Address, only address it will do in first pass. In second pass, it will convert the instructions to machine, instructions to machine level object code. Okay, so first pass address, second pass machine code. That's all. So in first pass, address is nothing but address of labels, address of instructions. In machine instruction, in a second pass, it will be the machine code for each instruction. Second pass, machine code for each instruction. First pass is address. Okay, that's why we will call it as two pass assembler. How it will assign the address for each instructions and how it will convert to machine level language. For that, we will have a two big algorithms: pass one assembler and pass one algorithm for pass one, algorithm for pass two. We will discuss in next class. Okay, that one. So you should know about that is what is pass one and pass two. What it will do in pass one and pass two. In pass one, address. In pass two, it will be the machine code. That is conversion of source program, in all instructions to machine code. That one will connect as a two pass assembler. Next, what is single pass assembler? The assembler that makes only one pass while converting from assembly level language to machine level language. We will call it as a one pass assembler. Okay, the assembler that makes only one pass. So whatever we are doing, that whatever you do, address, address of instruction, address of labels, and conversion of source assembly level language to machine level language, all things should be done in one single pass. That one we will call it as a single pass assembler. Okay, the assembler that makes only one pass while converting from assembly language to machine level language. An assembler, it may create symbol tables and obtains the address of all the labels and generation of machine code for each instruction. Everything will be done in single pass. That's why we will call it as a single pass assembler. Okay, if you are doing all the things in a single step, that one we will call it as a single pass assembler. Okay, so the multiple, okay, so multiple things are executed in single pass only. That's why we call it as a single pass assembler. And last one is multi-pass assembler. Okay, so this multi-pass assemblers, the assembler that makes more than two pass while converting from assembly language to machine level language, that one we will call it as a multi-pass assembler. It may take three pass or it may take four pass. Okay, so that one we will call it as a multi-pass assembler. Okay, so here if it is taking only single pass, that one we will call it as a single pass assembler. If the assembler takes two passes to converting machine level language to, sorry, to convert assembly level language to machine level language, that one we will call it as a two pass assembler. And third one is multi-pass assembler, a assembler that makes more than two passes to convert assembly level language to machine level language, that one we will call it as a multi-pass assembler. But we are concentrating only on two pass assembler. Okay, so that is very, very important. We are concentrating on only two pass assembler. We will discuss in detail of two pass assembler. Okay, so we will discuss in detail about two pass assembler. Okay, so in exams they may ask what are different types of assemblers. So at that time we need to write two pass assembler, one pass single pass assembler, and multi pass assembler. Okay, so next class we will discuss about in detail of two pass assembler and what are all the things are there in assembler. All those things we will discuss in the next class. So in today's class we revised, we have discussed about what do you mean by assembler, the definition of assembler. Okay, So first thing is we will discuss what do you mean by assembler and what are all the functions of assembler. Okay, so what are all the functions of assembler? Then after that, after functions of assembler, what do you mean by object program? Okay, so how we will represent that object program? Okay, so that is pictorial representation of object program. What are the contents of source program and what are the contents of object program? So all those things we have discussed. Then after that, uh, actually an object program, for format of object program, what are those things we have discussed? That is three formats: header record, text record, and end record. Okay, so header record contains what? A program name, starting address, and the length of object code. Program name, starting address, and length of object code, those three things we contains the header record. And text record contains the machine code, okay, along with data. Okay, so text record along with program data it contains, and end record which will contains the, it is indicates the end of the object program. It contains the starting address of the first instructions, sorry, it contains the starting address of the first instructions to be executed. These are the what are the different formats of assemblers they will ask. Okay, and what are the types of assemblers? We have discussed that is types of assemblers, that is three pass, two pass assemblers, single pass assemblers, and multi pass assemblers. In two pass assembler, that is very important, that in your syllabus we have two pass assembler. In two pass assembler, in first pass what it will do, it will gets the address of the labels, and second one it will in second job of in first pass is it will assign the address to all instructions, and second one, in second pass it will converts all the instructions to machine equivalent. Okay, so that is the two things. Then in single pass all the things, conversion of machine level and assembly level language to machine level language in one phase, that one we will call it as a single pass. Okay, so here this assembler creates a symbol tables the address of all the labels and generate the machine code for each one. Everything will be done in single pass, that one we will call symbol table and other things. So we will do in next class. Okay, and finally multi-pass assembler, the assembler that makes more than two passes while converting from assembly level language to machine level language. Okay, that one we will call it as a multi-pass assembler. Okay, so these are the things we have discussed in today's class. Next class we will discuss about, okay, so first one, a two pass assembler. So in that pass one algorithm and pass two algorithm, that is very important two things. Okay, so those things we need to discuss. Then what are the different steps in that pass one and pass two, and we will discuss the what are the different data structures are used in design of assemblers. Okay, so that is symbol table is one data structure. So those things we will discuss. So next class we will discuss about the data structures used in the design of assemblers. Then after that we will go for algorithm of first pass assembler and second pass.